This is my discussion 8, and I was an A. Okay, so I'm going to go off by listing what I know. So I'm going to look right here. And for Iowa, my mean was 6.11. Oh, sorry. I'm going to look right here. For Iowa, my mean was 7.5396, and my mean for Louisiana was 7.1305. So as you can tell, Iowa was already higher. Standard deviation for Louisiana is 1.3673. The minimum was 0.73, and the maximum was 10.5. For Iowa, the standard deviation was 1.3. The minimum was 1.09, and the maximum was 11.2. So then we go off and look at our other statistical variables, which is right here. So the signal minusing the mean, and I did Louisiana minus Iowa, even though you could have done Iowa minus Louisiana, so I did get a negative number. This is negative 0.4, and that's higher than 1/3, so I'll talk about that later, but anyways, it's negative 0.4. The noise is 0.0844. The t-test statistic, which is signal divided by the noise, is negative 4.8474, and the p-value is 0.999 continuous. Okay, so now going over here, this is my box plot, and as you can see, the means are very close, but Iowa did have a little bit higher, which is blue, of a mean. You can see here are my minimums and here are my maximums. You can kind of compare the two. So then I'm going to go to my p-value right here. And the thing that we're trying to figure out is, ultimately, do babies born in Iowa tend to weigh more on average than babies born in Louisiana? So for me, I actually rejected my null hypothesis. Right here is my null hypothesis. And I rejected my H0 because it was, so it said to reject it if it was more than 1/3 of a pound higher. And as you can see, 0.4 is higher than 1/3. So I had to reject it. And as you can see, I did a one-tail p-value. So right here, I put it at the p-value of 0.99, which is right here, and I dragged it on. And so this is saying, sorry. So I didn't do a two-tail because we were asked to do a one-tail. I looked out for that. And this is basically saying the probability of seeing a sample difference as big or bigger than what you got if there truly is no difference in the population mean. So basically, I rejected my null hypothesis because it was very high. 0.99 is very high to have this value. And then when you look down at my confidence interval, if you go back to over here, how I figured out my lower limit was I found the t-value for 500 and it was 2.33, so I multiplied 2.33 by my SE, which is right here, and then I took my the mean, which I used as right here. I took my signal and I did my signal plus or minus for the upper and lower limit of this value, and so here is my upper and lower limit. My mean, or the signal is what we're using, is negative 0.4092, so that is seen right here. So I can say that, I deleted it. Okay, I can say that I'm 99% positive that the sum of baby weights in the state of Iowa and Louisiana will lie in between negative 0.2125 and negative 0.61. So that is a confidence interval. I am 99% sure of it, that it will lie based on my calculations. Also, it says, explain why we are interested in whether or not the confidence interval includes the value of 0. What I put is because if the confidence interval does contain a 0, this can mean that the null hypothesis is viable, meaning if it's 0, then when you're subtracting the two means, it'll be closer to 0, meaning that the null hypothesis would actually be viable and used because it'd be close to what we're trying to get. So let me think of what else. So what I said yes to about the questions of how well did your results demonstrate what this assignment set out to demonstrate, I said yes to A, the average weight of all babies born in Louisiana is less than that average weight of babies born in Iowa. Based on your results, do you believe in the samples come from Iowa and Louisiana? I said yes, because Louisiana does have actually a smaller mean than Iowa, so I decided to say yes, and for the next one I did say no. Also, I have to say my results were not consistent with the population having equal means. I estimate that the mean weight for babies born in Louisiana in 1996 is lower than the mean weight of babies born in Iowa, so that is kind of why I rejected my null hypothesis. And honestly, my p-value was very high when you subtracted the means, which meant the means weren't close, which also meant it's not really from the same data, so that's why I would reject it. I would probably have retained my hypothesis if the p-value was a lot lower. And again, you get the p-value of subtracting the two means, and that's how I got it. If you have any other questions, I did say that I rejected my null hypothesis and I was A19. Thank you.